Okay, let's go and jump rank games with a random character and see what we're gonna get today. So it looks like we're playing the adventure and we do start off with a heroic bot, which makes me really want to go for an Excalibur type build. Now it does mean I'm gonna take out our Bag of Giving. We also could try to go for a Falcon Blade right here. I'm gonna grab these for now. Kinda wanna grab the short bow with this too, and I'm gonna roll. I do need to grab the garlic and I need to roll again. And not a single frame pan. We're gonna be in a bit of a tough spot. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell our little chipped emeralds, and I am going to roll again. We got ourselves a wooden sword, which is not ideal. I do want to grab this water stuff so we can craft up Claw's attack, because that's going to be a lot of damage as well. But this is going to be our initial round one, and it's not going to be that great since we only have one little short bow to do our damage. We have a stamina pot, which we're not going to be going out of stamina. And we got super unlucky by getting a hero sword and a broom, but we didn't get ourselves that frying pan. But we could have sold everything and did a big gamble with the Bag of Giving, but I mean, turn 2 Excalibur would have been awesome if you managed to get this single frame pan, which unfortunately we did face one with 30 more block with double weapons. But we did manage to get a square archer, which means I'm going to sell a little short bow. I'm going to sell the box riches. Let's take this. Let's take out our Bag of Giving and let's roll again. And hell yeah, we managed to get a frame pan. That's all we ever dreamed of. So I'm going to sell this for now. Let's go ahead and craft up our Excalibur. And I do want to craft up our Claw's attack. I do want to keep her twine just in case we come across something a bit crazy, but I'm going to sell this with the blue gemstone with our burning coal as well to take a big old banana. And I can't really add that in for now, but the square archer is going to be a lot more DPS. It's going to be stealing those tiny little buffs our opponent does have, like the regen we're going to have. And since we're speeding up, it should be pretty good, but we do need it beside our food as well. But can we actually win out? Because it's not looking too great for us. Unfortunately, our opponent has dealt a lot of damage, but can we squeak by? Definitely not. But we got a crazy absurd amount of bags. The craziest one is going to be that puzzle bag of energy, along with the puzzle bag of love. The puzzle bag of rune I'm not too interested in, so I might sell it because we're going to need to grab ourselves a skill. And I'm probably going to take blood manipulation over shielded, over smithing for dummies, even though I really like smithing for dummies. But vampirism stacking is going to be really nice. Corrupted crystal, we could try to go for another frame pan, but I mean, we already lost 2 lives grabbing our Excalibur. Now we could also take the puzzle bag badge, which would increase the speed on our Excalibur by quite a bit, or food items. But I don't think I'm going to take it. I think I'm going to venture on with this for now. I'm just going to move on with this. I mean, our Excalibur should be doing so much damage compared to our opponent's little frying pan. Broom with a hero sword, they have a lot of weapons. But hell yeah. We also got a good bit of damage too. We got ourselves a spear, we also got ourselves an Amulet of Fortune, and that is a Hunger Blade. I'm going to sell a spear first of all though. I kind of do want to keep our Claw's attack, but I also just want our Hunger Blade. But I'm going to sell our little pockets and I'm going to sell this too. We could sell our Amulet of Fortune since it is only going to increase the chances that we gain max life. Or with the garlic too, so I'm going to sell it. But I do want to take our Hunger Blade. And our stamina cost is going to be a little bit too high with a Hunger Blade along with our Excalibur. So I think I'm going to have this solace because I do want to grab another food item. But I also want to grab the wand as well. I am going to rock out with this. I think this should be pretty decent. We do got 3 food items for Excalibur. With no mana, so it is what it is. But it is going to do that a little bit more damage. And can we actually beat this Shelly Burning Sword? Now, honestly, the unique on Shelly might be better because getting a super fast Shelly for tons of heals is really darn sweet. Well, not too bad. Now, speaking of insane, we did get a freaking Flamewhip. The mad thing is, I think I'd actually prefer the Flamewhip over the Hunger Blade because we can turbo stack heat like there's no tomorrow if we do find ourselves a pineapple. So I'm going to sell our Hunger Blade. I do want to grab this bit of storage. We also got a Badge Rune. I do want to keep these flames to potentially craft up a Turbo Shelly or other flame items, but we did already get our flame up, which I kind of just want to grab our water stuff so we get that extra bit of flame from the rib. So do we sell our little ones? It does stack up a few buffs first, but it's not going to be that much for us. I'm going to sell our ones. I'm going to sell 1 flame. Let's go ahead and take it. I do want to reserve a big old banana, but let's move on with this. I did want to prioritize the speed on our blood manipulation right now, but if our opponent does stack up some spikes, our Squirrel Archer can steal spikes, which will increase our heat generation as well. But we should have tons and tons of damage. Our opponent will have lots of damage with a hammer set up too, but they use up a lot of weapons. Now, speaking of awesomeness, That's a set of blueberries, which we do want to grab. We could use up the little shard bow, but I think I'm going to sell it. Topaz is kind of nice as well, but do we actually want to amp to darkness? Our little squirrel archer is going to be inflicting effect damage, but I don't think I'm going to take it. I do want to grab a set of blueberries. I do want to grab a banana. I'm going to sell this. We could take the toad as well, but I do want to roll to try and find some bit of storage. We definitely want the chili pepper with the stamina sack, but we really need a ton of storage. I'm also contemplating and actually taking a spell scroll to grow, which is going to use up our mana, but I think with bananas and Excalibur, I don't think we're going to necessarily actually need it. But we didn't get any stronger this round, so we could actually end up losing, because we are taking on a dagger rank, which is going to have a chance to steal our buffs. With our squirrel archer, we can actually steal them back, which is kind of funny. But can we actually keep up? Because it's not looking too bad for us. Hell yeah. No, give us a Hunger Blade. It also gave us Pop on Zephyr 3. I do like Pop quite a bit, but our storage is relatively stuck for now. I do want to sell this. I'm going to sell all this stuff. We really need our extra bit of storage. And for now, I'm going to sell this little topaz. This little gemstone. Let's take our chili pepper. Let's roll again. And that's a pineapple. We 150,000% need that pineapple. Now, I did move ourselves around just a small bit, so we have our Excalibur in this position. We also moved our flame over to here now as well. But grabbing this pineapple is going to be a ton of spike stacking for us. But can we take on this Reaper? Now, they don't have a whole lot of weapons. I mean, they're still using a broom, but it's going to be a lot of blind. And they are going to be stacking up on us. Now, they do have a little bit of spike stacking with the shield, so we can potentially actually steal their spikes and increase their heat with the little squirrel archer. Which honestly is crazy good for us. So now when our Flamewhip does activate, it is going to give us a ton more heat. So can we actually steal one out? It's definitely not looking close whatsoever. And smashing. Now I think we literally got the craziest round, because we can go for a Cupcake Goober. That way we can instantly stack up a crazy absurd of heat. We could just hold on to a Cupcake. We also got a Snowball, which I'm going to sell. I don't really want a Snowball actually. But we did get the Amnesteel. Now I'm a little bit perplexed on what we should go for. Because I did really want to go for the Merchant, because it does give us mana, which is going to be perfect for Excalibur. Didn't really want to go to Ukulele. It does give us increased healing, and it does give us a chance to duplicate our buffs, meaning we can stack up our heat a lot faster. It does give us more heals, and it also does give us 5 random buffs. So Ukulele, Merchant, really good options. But since we got Amnesteel, Turbo Turtle on the tables, give us a ton of block, 20% for max life, a ton of empower, could be kind of awesome. We also got the Weapon Master, so we're going to be using up a lot more stamina, we will be inflicting a lot more poison on ourselves. But we'd also be getting a ton of block as well. The problem is right now, I do want to keep our Goobers, I definitely want to keep our Cupcake, because that's 7 golds, that's 3 gold. We just barely got enough. Well, we also got the bag too, but we really need the bag. But I think we're such in a need for mana generation, I do kind of want to grab our scales. Now, we're going to have to sell our Goobers. I did want to keep our Amnesteel. Should we just go Turbo Turtle? We'll be getting lots of power, but I mean, we could also go Ukulele and get tons more heals, inflict a bunch of colds. It's also pretty darn sweet. Am I crazy to take Ukulele? It's going to give us random buffs, which makes our Cupcake a little bit more chaotic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to sell a Garlic. I'm going to have to sell a Flame, another Flame. We do need to sell 2 more things. We could sell our Badgeroon, which I'm going to actually sell. Now we could have also just sold our Amnesteel, but should we try to go for the Turbo Turtle? Turbo Turtle versus Mercury Elemental. I do like going super fast with Turbo Turtles, but we're not going to be grabbing a shield. That's just something we're not going to be going for. Ukulele would be awesome. The safe bet is to go for the Ukulele. The crazy bet is to go for Turtle. More consistent is going to be the Scales. But since we got Amnesteel, shouldn't we just go crazy and try to take the Turtle? I'm going to take the Turtle, as crazy as that is. And we do want this bit of storage. And we really do need this pineapple. But we're going to have to venture on for now. So at least with our Cupcake, we have the potential to stack up a bunch more heat, since it is going to give us 2 of whatever buff you have most of. Trying to increase the speed on our Turtle as much as possible to start stacking up our power, which should be awesome. The problem is we have no mana generation, so we do want to fall short. But our opponent did have a lot of damage with a Burning Blade as well. Now we definitely do not want to boots any of this stuff. We really need the storage. And we're going to sell our Twine along with another Flame to grab ourselves this pineapple. But I have to go to sell the Star of Courage so we can grab another food item, being a set of blueberries. And yeah, we're going to move on once again. Now we could take the Prismatic Orb. That's probably something we should have actually taken because we could start off with a bunch more mana. But we really do need to find some sort of mana generation, so we can actually get our Excalibur proccing. But can we keep up with opponents? We do got 15 heats. We're stacking up a little bit more consistent heat generation. The problem is, we're never ever going to be triggering our Excalibur until we get a way to actually pass at 10 mana. Because blueberries will never ever pass at 10 mana. But if our opponent does have mana, our Squirrel Archer does allow us to actually activate it. So we got that 60 heat, which our turtle is triggering every 6 seconds. Stacking up our power. It's actually not a whole lot of power gained within 20 seconds, but it's going to keep leveling up. And we got ourselves a Spike Staff, which is awesome, but we're going to not take out. We also got Dual Wielding, which I do like quite a bit. Attacking 20% faster at the beginning, use up 30% less stamina. Over Hardwood, over Guard Power. Holly ain't going to be taking him. Let's get rid of a Power Pulp. Let's go ahead and grab a Chili Pepper for now. And I'm going to roll. Another Cupcake I'm going to have to grab as well, but I do really want to grab this for now as well. We really do need this Cupcake. But let's finish on. So with Dual Wielding, we should be in a fantastic spot. We should have moved our turtle up so it gets that increased speed as well. Our Excalibur and our Flamewhip does trigger a little faster, which is going to be really, really awesome. But can we keep up with this poison stacking opponents? With the investment opportunity, they're going to stack up some max life. They're dealing some big damage to us. And they got tons and tons of heals. And unfortunately, we just end up falling short once again. And we do get a Dragon Egg. I'm going to sell both of these. Let's grab our next Cupcake. Let's roll again. Let's tell you, I do want to keep rolling. We do get a Mana Orb, and I'm going to have to take that pretty much this round. But is there a way to actually get it? If we sell the Stone, we sell the Luck. There's just no way we can actually afford it this round. Because we do want to keep our Chili Pepper, we do want to keep our Dual Wielding, we definitely want to keep our Squirrel Archer. We really need our Cupcakes. We need our Amethyst Steel. We are going to lose this round if we don't take it. Well, I think right now I'm going to sell one banana, and I'm probably going to have to sell our Walrus Tusk. As much as I'd love to keep it, we just need this Mana Orb so darn bad. We're going to have our Mana Orb in this position. We're going to lose out on 2 items beside our Excalibur, but we should be able to refund some of the spikes we do use up with our Flame. And yeah, we're going to have to move on with this. Now we got some mana generation, so we should be in a much, much better spot. We are going to begin a Frozen Flame, which is going to be trying to slow us down. They do got tons of potions, so their Turbo Shell is going to be going nuts. But our mana gains should be pretty darn smashing, so we should be able to get our heat consistently stacked up, speeding up our turtle, give us some power, and it's definitely looking a hell of a lot better for sure. And our turtle triggered every 4 seconds, and I kind of expected to get even more power from Amethyst Steel. But we do need to stack up some max life, and I was just immediately thinking of a cheese, which is kind of crazy, which we're immediately going to place in this position. Which is literally perfect. Now I do want to sell you, and I kind of want to grab a carrot just so we get some stacking and power if we stack up a bunch of luck. I do want to sell you, and you know what? I think this is going to be pretty decent to move on with this for now. So the turtle also gives us time to actually stack up our buffs. For the first 7 seconds of fight, both of us take 35% less damage. But holy moly, that's a lot of buffs on our opponent's side with double Spike Staffs, which is not really giving us much time. And unfortunately, we didn't even get a chance to get off the ground running. Unfortunately. Now we got some armor, which I'm going to sell. We also got a Badge Rune, which is going to duplicate our buffs. Elf Rune for a bit more max life stacking. We're going to sell you. And I do want to grab the Owl. The problem is, we're 1 gold short. But we really do want this Owl to duplicate our buffs an absurd amount. But I'm going to reserve this bit of storage. I don't think we're going to be able to fit in our Squirrel Archer anymore, because I do want to add in our Tiger Rune to duplicate our buffs. Along with our Elf Rune to get us a little bit more max life. And we are going to begin a Mana Mastered Excalibur. With the Deerwood Guardian, they're going to be getting tons and tons more mana than we are. But we're going to get their heat stacked up. And with infinite heats, we should be in a pretty good spot. And with our Owl Spirit Companion, we should be able to get tons more mana. I mean, we already have 120 heat, and we're stacking up in power like there's no tomorrow. And it's definitely looking fantastic. I'm going to sell our bow. I'm also going to sell this little bow. I'm going to grab this little bit of storage for now. I'm going to roll. And we got the craziness. Hell yeah, I'm going to be taking another Mana Orb. Well, it's going to put our Squirrel Archer back in. And we should be able to generate up an insane amount more mana. But I do kind of want to grab our potion bolts. I really do want to grab his chili pepper. I'm going to set our spell scroll grow. We could have actually used it, but I think I'm happy enough moving on with this. We should be able to generate up even more mana since we got a second mana orb. Means more consistent Excalibur gains. But our opponent does have a katana, which is going to remove a lot of skilling damage and a crap ton of our buffs. And it does take us a little bit longer to get our heat stacked up. Once we get it online, our turbo shelly is going to go nuts. And since we're stacking up max life with this cheese, we're going to get even more block, which does give us even more power, and not too bad. It did take us way too long to actually get this stacked up. And speaking of insane luck, another Tiger Rune with a Frozen Buckler, which I'm going to sell even though we could use it for our shields. I'm going to sell this too, and I do want to grab his potion bolts. Because I'm going to be adding in a Ruby Chunk. Ruby Chunk over the Squirrel Archer for now, because the Ruby Chunk does have a chance to stun once we get 12 heat. It's going to be fantastic. That's for sure. But let's not waste any time. Let's move on with this for now. So stun our opponent is going to be really, really awesome. Our opponent does attack through block, which is going to be a bit problematic. They also have healing reduction, which could be problematic as well. 100% healing reduction. That's going to be a bit yikes. So we're kind of relying on a single cheese to stack up a lot of max life, but we got 100 heat already. And we could be in big trouble. However, when I say big trouble, I mean not close whatsoever. Now, our healing is going to be really, really low since your opponent does have so much healing reduction. We did only have a 45 DPS, but with the Ruby Chunk, we've actually gone turbo nuts. We actually have 0 healing. We have 0 healing because we can't heal if our healing reduction is 0 and we haven't increased our healing whatsoever. But we did manage to get 20 max life gain per second, which is not a whole lot. Definitely not a whole lot. And in terms of block, we managed to get 323 block from our Turbo Turtle. But let's see if we can actually make this crazier. So we actually got a Snowmaster, which will inflict a bunch of colds, up to 10 cold, and then it's going to start giving us a power instead. It also cleanses debuffs, which is kind of nice. You also got a bird, which I'm going to sell the bird, I'm going to sell the shields. I'm going to take the chili pepper for now as I roll. And how do we not take the acorn collar with the cheese, with the bit of storage? I mean, I'd love to add in a Snowmaster, but I'm thinking about selling it very, very strongly because it does give us a lot of monies. I'm going to sell a Squirrel Archer, which has been good. But for now, let's take our Blue Sage's Collar. That's going to be infinitely mana stacking for us. We're going to be taking our cheese in the next rounds. And we could try to stun our opponent a little bit more with our Elfin Rune, but I do like having it in our backpack for 40 more max life. It's not a whole lot more max life actually, but it does give us a little bit more block, which I'm happy to add in for now. Let's sell our stone, and yeah, let's move on with this for now. So we're going to get crits on our Ruby Chunk along with our Flame, which is nice. It's not going to be on our Flame or on our Excalibur, unfortunately. So it is what it is. Now our opponent's dealing that massive damage to us. I say massive damage, we're still pretty much full HP. But you're going to have Crazy start healing on a little Hunger Blade. The good news is they can actually still hit for like 10 damage, since it is a minimal damage and we do so much damage once we get our heat stacked up. We got our Blue Sage Collar, which isn't going to give us crits anymore, but we're going to have way more consistent mana gains. But it did give us our Squirrel Archer back, which is kind of funny. I did sell our Goobert for now. I definitely want to sell you too. Do you want to keep our Squirrel Archer, or do we want to grab an extra cheese? I think I'm going to sell our Chili Pepper. We have so much heat stacking that I just want to take our cheese for now. We could also take Prismatic Orb for the final rounds, which would help us get our starting mana off the ground. So I'm thinking about taking it. Depends on what we get in our final shop. Our final bag of giving. Now we are good up again a debuff stacking opponents. That's 20 blind on us already. And we have to hit with our Flamewhip to actually stack up our heat. So we could be in trouble, but we got so much mana generation that our Excalibur is actually going to start going crazy for us. But our heat stacking is a little bit rough. But it actually is slowly increasing with the amount of luck we do have. But that's still a crazy absurd amount of blind. And I don't think we're going to be able to survive this one. Definitely not, unfortunately. So we end up going back down to 1 life. It does give us our own Darksaber, which I do want to sell. Now, it actually didn't give us enough to get our Prismatic Orb, which is mad. So we ended up with a lot less value than actually getting a Prismatic Orb, because I did really want to get it to start off with our mana, so we can get our Excalibur off the ground running. Because I did want a turbo fast Squirrel Archer as well, but I think I might have to sell him. You're going to sell our Squirrel Archer because I do want to grab this really badly. Now I kind of want to place it in this position, which is going to give us 6 mana off the rip. It's not as much mana as I'd love it to be. We can also place it in this position, but I think this is probably going to be our best spot for now. Now we're only going to have one blueberries on our Excalibur for now, but I think that should be okay. I'd really love to grab another mana orb, but it is what it is. We still have our dual wielding in. We should be able to generate up a lot more buffs. 6 mana off the rip means it's not going to take us too long to start getting our Excalibur off the ground running. I'd love it to be actually a lot more, but it is what it is. We could do something like this, but then we lose our mana orb proc on our food item, which is not as good as I'd love it to be. So I think we kind of actually prefer having it this way anyway. But we did move our turtle over to this position along with our Amnesty Steel. That way we can speed up our Ruby Chunk even faster with our turtle. We could actually move our blue Sage's Color over into this position, but I do prefer having our mana orb in here instead of our blue Sage's Color. But let's go and see if it's going to be good enough. Might as well grab a Flyger Egg to try and inflict a small bit of poison. Are we going to be able to win out? Will it be good enough, or are we going to fall short? Will this Turbo Turtle, Excalibur Flamewhip type combo be able to win out? We are going to begin a Staff Fire with a Null Blade, with Ukulele. They're going to get tons and tons of damage on that Staff Fire. We do have 9 mana right now. And they are stealing some of our buffs. So it is taking us a little bit too long to get our heat stacked up. It's already been 5 seconds. We got crazy absurd mana. And we do get a big mana buff bomb actually, which actually works out in our favor. Because it does give us a ton of buffs, being our Vampirism, being our Empower, being more spikes. We got crazy absurd heat, which makes our turtle trigger every 4 seconds right now. And it is going to be some insane block, 24 Empower, and smashing. So overall, definitely a smashing build. 69 DPS, nice amount of DPS to be honest, being our Excalibur, Flamewhip, and Ruby Chunk. If you didn't get the Ruby Chunk, our DPS would have been a lot lower. On healing damage, spikes, really, really nice. Now in terms of healing, we managed to get about 60 healing per second, which is not too bad. And in terms of max health gain, we managed to get 30 max health gain as well. Now in terms of block, we managed to get 20 block per second, 205 block, which is not too crazy, especially on a super fast turtle. I genuinely expected this to be a lot more. So I'm thinking taking our Ukulele or taking our Scales would have been the better bet than going for Turbo Turtle, to be quite honest. But it is what it is. We did survive 1 life left, so let's go and see just how much rank points we managed to get. +8, ranking us up quite a bit. But I am going to leave you here for now. Just want to say thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, or even subscribing. And I hope to look out for the next one. I'll see you next time. Okay, we're back to some round 18 fights, and we're going to see can we take on a Serpent Staff with the Piercing Arrow. We're going to be trying to inflict a bunch of poison on us. But we should be able to cleanse a lot of poison with our Chili Peppers and our cards. We got our Infinite Heat, which means we got infinite block, infinite heals, infinite max life, and infinite damage. And not too bad. Now this one's going to be scary because we are going to begin a cold stacking build. So we do need to get our heat stacked up. And once we get our heat stacked up, we can actually cleanse a lot of that cold. Potentially. But we got so much heat right now that's not going to matter too much. We do get a big mana buff bomb once again. We got tons and tons and tons of buffs. And it's not looking too bad. Cleansed all the colds and smashing. Now, can we deal with an infinite heat stacking Cupcake Staff? Because they're going to be turbo stacking a lot of heat. They're actually going to go for mana right now, which does give them a big mana buff bomb. And then they're going to go back to heat. And eventually they're going to get a second big mana buff bomb. But doesn't matter too much. We end up smashing them out. And finally, can we deal with a Hardwood Molten Greatsword? They got crazy absurd block. They're going to be run through heat like there's no tomorrow. But they're going to get their power stacked up relatively fast. And they're going to do some big damage. Because they do have the Piercing Arrow to get even more crit damage. But hell yeah.
Damn, what a hell of a view. I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date.